Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the podcast where we take source material you provide and really extract the key insights, giving you that shortcut to being genuinely well informed. Today, we're doing something, well, pretty unique based on the research you sent over. We're diving deep into three specific animals: the pig, the tiger, and the flamingo. And our mission really is to see how these animals, separately and maybe together, symbolize or embody different aspects of a subpersonality you called Liz. It's kind of like understanding a complex person through these, well, maybe unexpected animal lenses. You're going to discover some surprising facts, a lot of cultural background, and maybe some psychological takes that show how diverse traits can all exist in one persona. Okay, so let's unpack this first animal. The pig often gets a bad rap, right? Stereotyped. But the sources you shared show something much more complex. What does the pig bring to the table for understanding Liz?
Yeah, it's a great place to start because honestly, the pig just shatters a lot of assumptions. What's really striking is the sheer range, the breadth of characteristics it embodies, biologically, culturally. I mean, scientifically, they're mammals, so Scrofa domesticus. And they are incredibly intelligent. We're talking self-recognition and mirrors complex vocalizations.
Wow, self-recognition. That really does challenge the usual image. I can already see how Liz might be more complex than expected, if that's a parallel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just brains. They're also unbelievably adaptable. They can thrive in all sorts of climates, eat almost anything. Omnivores, right?
Yeah.
Plants, insects, refuse.
Icons of flexibility, then.
Totally. Icons of flexibility, resourcefulness. That adaptability, that's a huge thread for Liz, suggesting someone who can, navigate tricky, even messy situations and still come out okay. And they're social, too. They like groups, have hierarchies, shows social smarts. Then you get into the cultural side, and it's this fascinating duality. Like, in Greek myth, Circe turns men into pigs. That's indulgence. But then in Chinese folklore, Zubaji is both lustful and loyal.
So it's not just what they are biologically, but how different cultures see them. And those views clash sometimes.
Absolutely. Symbolically, it's all over the map. Gluttony, sure, but also golf, fertility, piggy banks for luck and money. Yet they also symbolize filth in other contexts. In the Chinese zodiac, the pig is about honesty, luxury, loving pleasure. And historically, there was economic powerhouses, easy to breed, fed everyone from peasants to kings.
Right.
They fed armies, helped with sanitation even.
Yeah.
But that same adaptability, it meant they could wreck ecosystems when introduced somewhere new, like Hawaii or Australia.
So this creature is like a walking contradiction. Reviled, revered, useful, destructive. How does that translate to Liz, this duality?
That's the key question, isn't it? Bringing it back to Liz, that pig duality seems incredibly relevant. Think about how people react to pigs. Disgust, delight, dirty, greedy, but also kind of cute, smart. It mirrors our own contradictions and perhaps Liz's too. The pig archetype, as a symbolic idea. It can mean greed, yeah, but also intelligence, that adaptability we talked about, maybe even a bit of rebellion.
Rebellion, interesting.
Yeah. And dream symbolism often points to indulgence or abundance, but sometimes it's about misunderstood potential. Even our sayings, like "when pigs fly" or "happy as a pig in mud," show these totally opposite views. So for Liz, the pig could represent this incredible range: resourcefulness, intelligence, maybe perceived indulgence sometimes. But underneath it suggests a surprisingly adaptive, resilient side, someone who can find value or make things work where others just see, well, mud.
Okay. From the adaptable, complex pig, we're shifting gears pretty dramatically. Now we're looking at the tiger. Embodies a very different vibe, doesn't it? What aspects of Liz's subpersonality does the tiger illuminate?
It really does shift the energy. The tiger brings this undeniable feeling of power, raw power, independence, but interestingly, also vulnerability. Scientifically, Panthera tigris, largest big cat, that iconic striped coat, they're solitary hunters, ambush predators, amazing night vision, hearing, those powerful jaws.
Built for mastery, but alone.
Exactly. Strong swimmers, climbers too. They mark out these huge territories. It's all about this wild, untamed power. That solitary strength is something we're definitely exploring for Liz.
So right away, a big contrast with the pig's social side.
The tiger's more about lone mastery.
Precisely. And it's that raw power that's, fascinated humans forever, led to all this rich symbolism. They originated in Asia millions of years back. But here's the vulnerability part. Their conservation status is endangered, fewer than 4,000 left in the wild. Habitat loss, poaching. It's a stark reminder that even immense power isn't invincible. A powerful metaphor in itself, maybe.
Culturally, tigers are huge symbols. Chinese mythology, white tiger of the West, symbolizing autumn, metal. Hinduism, goddess Durga rides a tiger, power over evil. Generally, they stand for power, courage, royalty, ferocity, independence, often personal strength, that lone mastery idea, unlike, say, lions who are more social. And in the Chinese zodiac, tigers are seen as brave but also unpredictable.
Uh-huh.
Historically, they were never really domesticated. Feared, worshipped, put in royal zoos, but also, sadly, exploited for skins, bones, traditional medicine, the black market stuff. Now there's value in saving them through ecotourism and conservation.
So this raises a really important question, I think. How does that kind of immense untamed power relate to a subpersonality, to Liz?
It's about how we relate to that power. Humans see tigers with awe, respect, certainly fear, but also maybe aspiration, that desire for strength, for dominance. Think about archetypes like the tiger parent, that strict driving style, or the opposite, a paper tiger looks fierce but has no real bite.
Right, the appearance versus reality.
It's exactly. Dream symbolism could be about harnessing your own strength, overcoming fear, or could represent danger, maybe repressed aggression. And those sayings, riding the tiger, having a tiger by the tail, they capture that dangerous, thrilling, captivating nature. So for Liz, the tiger points to immense personal strength, focus, a fiercely independent spirit, maybe an untamed aspect of her personality, protective perhaps. Commands respect, definitely operates on her own terms.
Okay, so pig for adaptability and hidden depths. Tiger for fierce independence and power. Our final animal is the flamingo. Quite a different feel again. Striking looks, strong community ties. What surprising insights does the flamingo offer about Liz?
Yeah, the flamingo is fascinating because it blends this elegance and almost flamboyance with a really deep sense of community and balance. Scientifically, they're birds, Phoenicopteridae.
Yes.
6 species, that amazing pink or red color. It comes directly from their diet carotenoids in the shrimp and algae they eat. They literally are what they eat, visually speaking. They're filter feeders with those unique curved bills. Live quite a long time, 20, 40 years in the wild. And they're super social. Gregarious is the word. They nest in these huge colonies, thousands strong.
So immediately you get that strong visual impact, but tied closely to a profound social need.
Exactly that. They show strong pair bonding. And get this, they produce crop milk. It's this nutrient-rich stuff from their own digestive tracts they feed their chicks. Incredible parental communal care. Even the young ones form these communal creches like little nurseries. It really underscores that deep social wiring.
Yeah.
Culturally, they pop up in interesting places. Ancient Romans apparently considered flamingo tongues a delicacy. Egyptians linked them to the sun god Ra, used them in art, symbolically. They represent beauty, definitely. Balance that iconic one-legged stance, rebirth, community, elegance, maybe even extravagance. People see them as totems for grace, emotional balance, staying connected socially.
It's hard not to picture those synchronized movements they do. Really drives home that communal spirit, doesn't it?
It really does. Historically, beyond the Roman dinner table, they're mostly appreciated in the wild now. Big for ecotourism. Conservation is key in some areas where habitats are threatened. And in pop culture, the plastic pink flamingo lawn ornament that started back in 1957 became this huge symbol of kitsch, Americana. They show up in kids' books, cartoons, often highlighting those synchronized dances. They kind of symbolize vacation, luxury, sometimes an ironic sort of flamboyance in fashion and design. Viral photos of big flocks or escapees always get attention online too.
Okay, so connecting this back to Liz, what does this elegant, social, maybe slightly quirky bird tell us about her?
Well, a flamingo tends to evoke awe in people, a sense of serenity, maybe aspiration. We admire their elegance, those communal rituals. As an archetype, the flamingo symbolizes self-expression, being comfortable standing out, social cohesion, absolutely, grace under pressure, being unique. Dream symbolism often connects them to finding balance, emotional healing, standing tall on your own skin, basically. There's even that phrase, pink flamingo energy, right?
Right.
Meaning being a bold, stylish, emotionally vibrant.
I like that. Pink flamingo energy.
So for Liz, the flamingo suggests this vibrant, expressive, maybe even flamboyant side, but coupled with a deep need for social connection, for community support. And underneath it all, an inherent sense of balance and grace, even when she's making a bold statement.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together then. We've journeyed through the pig's surprising depth, the tiger's majestic power, and the flamingo's vibrant grace. How do these three seemingly quite different animals paint a more cohesive picture of this Liz subpersonality?
Well, I think the sources really emphasize that a single persona is rarely just one thing, right? Liz seems like a perfect example of that complexity. The pig speaks to her incredible adaptability, her intelligence, that duality, resourcefulness, maybe sometimes misunderstood indulgence.
Right.
The tiger then highlights her inner strengths, that fierce independence, maybe a protective streak, or a need for solitude at times.
Mm.
And then the flamingo layers on the social grace, the vibrant self-expression, and that fundamental need for community, for balance. So when you put them together, Liz isn't just, a list of traits. She embodies this fascinating interplay. The pig's quiet, adaptable intelligence lets her thrive where others might struggle.
Mm.
The tiger's fierce independence gives her this undeniable, commanding presence. And the flamingo's communal grace means she connects authentically, even while clearly standing out. It suggests a persona that's complex, yeah, but also powerful and beautifully balanced in its own way. Definitely challenges surface assumptions.
Our deep dive today really does show how looking at seemingly unrelated things, like these animals, through different sources can light up complex ideas. Even something as nuanced as a part of someone's personality, it definitely suggests the most interesting stuff is often just below the surface of what we think we know.
Absolutely. What unexpected connection or insight from this really stood out most to you?
For me, I think it's that idea that real strength isn't just the tiger's raw power, it's also the pig's quiet smarts and adaptability, and the flamingo's graceful self-expression and community. It's the blend. So what does this all mean for you listening? Maybe next time you encounter a complex idea or even think about a multifaceted person you know, consider this. What three animals might you choose to symbolize their core traits? And what surprising insights might thinking about those animal symbols reveal about the topic you are exploring?